How you doing, Webb's community? Another episode of Health, Wealth, and Wisdom in the Black community. It's 4th of July, so happy 4th of July. Um, so we want to talk today about my time in Afghanistan. 2012, I was in Afghanistan as an advisor. I had a five-man team. We would go outside the wire. When I say outside the wire, meaning we would go out of the confines of the base and we would go outside in the local community. In this specific thing, I was a logistics readiness officer. So my team's job was to advise our counterparts, our Afghan counterparts. At the time, I was working with the Afghan National Police, and we was teaching them or learning them, advising them on their supply chain and warehousing their supplies, things of that nature. What I wanted to talk about is something I learned there. I learned from my interpreter. Um, matter of fact, some of those interpreters are in America now, living living good because they were playing chess, not checkers, and I'll explain that when I say they were playing chess, not checkers. And the reason I'm talking about this because I wanted to share with my Webb's community, Wealth in Black Spaces, Health, Wealth, and Wisdom, how you need to play chess instead of checkers out here in life. And what do I mean by that? You need to be thinking 2 and 3 steps ahead um, to get ahead. And my interpreter, of course, he knew English because he knew the English language. That's how he became an interpreter. He spoke English well, and he was my right hand man when I would go into these meetings. We would do a shura or have a meeting with the local AMP lieutenant colonel, and one day when we picked him up, I noticed he was learning Spanish, and I'm like, I asked him, why he was learning Spanish. He's like, well, he was already. Now, keep in mind, there was no guarantee that he was coming to America. He put in his paperwork to come to America. They call it a SIV, Civ, but there was no guarantee. But he did his research, and he knew that Spanish is a lot of Spanish speaking people are in America, so he was already preparing himself. So when get a job, he can put, "Hey, I speak English. I speak 3 languages: English, of course, Pashto. I think it was Pashto or Dari in his Afghan language, and he's already adding to that Spanish." So that got me to thinking. I said, "Wow, this guy. Here we are in a war-torn country. He's taking a chance being my interpreter because um, if you don't know an interpreter, the wrong people would have found out that he couldn't even take pictures with us because an interpreter life would be on the line if they found out he was helping us and assisting us with our job. So here we are in a war torn country, and he's already in the event that he can come to America. He was already moving those chess pieces to make his life better in America. Um, Trying to learn Spanish. That and a couple of other lessons I took from Afghanistan during that time. Even when we went to see them, because they couldn't stay in the same side of the base as us, so we would go to their side where they were being housed, and literally where they was staying. I went into the room to have some tea one time where we were discussing things before we go out, hit the road, go outside the wire, and where he was staying, it was a dirt floor. It was literally a tent, dirt floor, and they had like carpets where they would, sleep or whatnot. But the floor was dirt. So I'm thinking to myself, wow, you know, I don't. have it that bad here. Um, it just gives you a different perspective when you see that type of drive and those living conditions. And I think he did, as a matter of fact, he did end up coming to America and he's doing well. Matter of fact, one of my interpreters um, just finished Ranger School like a couple of years ago. So I follow him on Facebook. And, but them guys were playing chess instead of checkers. They were understanding. They were trying to better themselves, even in a war torn situation. Goes to show that you can make lemons. You can make lemonade out of lemons. There's, I mean, here you are. Like I say, it's a war torn country, and he's already thinking about what he needs to do, how he can position himself to strive once he get to America. Um, so I think sometimes we as Americans take for granted the opportunities we have. Do we have racism in America? Yes, absolutely. Uh, Systemic racism, i.e., however, there's nothing stopping you from developing yourself, continuing to develop yourself, self development. You have to do an audit. You have to do an audit. When I say an audit, what I mean is when you wake up, everybody gets 24 hours a day. What are you doing in them 24 hours? What books are you reading? I can say you're gonna hear this if you follow my channel. You're gonna hear this all the time. Books, just like you go to the gym to train your muscles, you need to be hitting those books just as hard as you hit that gym, because that's how you play chess. Hit those books hard as you hit the gym. Read something. Do an audit. Find 24 hours a day. How much time each day are you spent learning something new, putting something in your head that you can utilize a skill set? Are you learning how to sell something? There's so many tools out there now. It's no reason why you can't have multiple sources of income. There's Facebook Marketplace, stuff you're not using in your house. Put it on Facebook Marketplace and don't just make money to spend it. And I'll be talking more about that in upcoming podcast, my show. I'll stop calling it podcast. It's a show. Wealth in Black Spaces, and have a vision for your life. And the Bible says, "My people perish for lack of knowledge." Have a vision. Have a vision, and like I said, like my interpreter did, he had already he was 2 or 3 steps ahead. That's what you do. Like I said, it's we in the seventh month of 2024. Write your goals down, and don't share them with nobody. Write them down, and just between you and the Lord. What you want to write down, and reverse engineer back to reverse engineer. You have a goal, you want to have $10,000 or however much in the bank that you don't touch. Reverse engineer. How much is that? If you were trying to have that in 12 months from now, which is July of 2025, reverse engineer. How much do I need to kick in there every month in a different account? Do just like that interpreter. Reverse engineer. So that was just I wanted to do on this 4th of July. Just give you a little nugget from my life about what I learned in Afghanistan. Chess, not checkers. Have a safe and happy rest of your 4th of July. And peace and love. See you to the next episode. And like and subscribe and share this video.